July 27th, 2015. A couple of things I want to talk about, guys, this morning. We've been watching both. One is the world stock markets. There's been a 6-day slide across the board. And in the last day of trading, the Asian stock market took a big hit. They're saying that China stocks have tanked more than 8% in the Asian sell-off. That's one day. That's if you look back at the charts, go to CNBC.com or whatever stock market report you use and check out their 5-day and 30-day charts. The 5-day chart will give you an indicator of where we're at right now. And the world is seeing a lot of turmoil. We're not getting very many mainstream reports on what's really going on throughout the Middle East, from Turkey to Israel. All the way through this area, guys, there's a lot more going on than what they're talking about. We're going to get into that somewhat. But the Dow right now is down 109 points. But if you look at the last trading day as it closed, the Shanghai, which is not, it's not up in the 1700s like our market is, its actual value now is 37.25. Well, it dropped 345, which is 8.48% one day. The Hang Seng dropped a minus 776.55, or 3%. The Nikkei dropped minus 194. That's not quite 1% for them, but the Shanghai is the China's leading indicator. That is, and if you look back, guys, at the 1-year chart, if you go and check these out, you'll see that we had a rapid bubble in the last few months. That's starting to slide very quickly. Need to pay attention to that. The European stocks are down. Right now, the German DAX minus 246. That's 2.17%. Think about that. The FTSE's down 62.25. The CAC is down minus 117. Oil is at $47.41 a barrel. The only thing positive on the whole board is natural gas is slightly up. Your gold has been collapsing forever. It's down at $10.95. Now it's up $9.09 an ounce today. You'll see that collapse, and it will triple that loss. Each week it does the same thing. There is no safety in the markets. Your gold and silver, you know, it will be cast into the streets and cursed because you won't be able to use it. People will not trade vital goods if you have a stock market crash for gold and silver. If you can't eat it, or it's not medicine or fuel, you can forget it. It will be cast into the street. The Bible tells us that, so be aware of that. Now, let's look at the Middle East. In the video last night, it talked about trouble in Israel on the Temple Mount. Well, they realize that there's a problem there, and that some of this increased rioting is caused by outside factors. So what they've done today is they've called up hundreds of thousands of their Israeli Defense Forces for emergency readiness war drills. Not a few thousand, hundreds of thousands. They know that ISIS has surrounded their borders, has infiltrated through the youth of the Arab youth in that area. They know there's trouble coming. There's something unique about this one too. It's the largest, but it's also going to be very similar to Jade Ham here in the United States as far as the computers and artificial intelligence and cyber warfare training. Let me read some of this report. It says large-scale military drills have been launched in Israel with the aim of testing the IDF's readiness to go into emergency mode. Hundreds of thousands of reserve soldiers are involved in testing the system. They will all be receiving a telephone call to confirm everything is in working order according to the General Staff's plan for the drill set to last for 3 days. Thousands of others will be summoned to bases on short notice. Said that this is one of the largest telephone call-ups we've had in an exercise. We want to ensure that the system is well-oiled and working. It says the Air Force, with its bases and other facilities, will also take part in the call-up. Among other activities, base personnel will be carrying out emergency intelligence data analysis for the purpose of conducting airstrikes. The same goes for the Israeli Navy and their infrastructure. For the first time, cyber defenses will be a part of a general staff exercise. Guys, the people that created the Jade 2 artificial intelligence software, it's not limited to the United States. Believe me. If any of the weaponry that we have, you know Israel has it too. Now, if anyone needs to call up a massive military drill, it is Israel. Because regardless of the ill intentions of the powers that be to create this war, and we've talked about that in the letter from Albert Pike, the Luciferian Doctrine, regardless, they are surrounded. Egypt on the south. You've got Syria to the north and Turkey. There's problems there. Do you know that just yesterday, Turkey allowed for the first time U.S. Air Force combat planes to land and take off there? A lot of things they're not talking about, but it says, responses to potential attacks from Syria, Lebanon, and Gaza are the overarching theme of the drills. It is part of our activities linked to working on our readiness. It says the source added, saying the Southern Command will practice responding to mock rocket attacks from the Gaza Strip. Remember what happened to the Gaza Strip after last year's war, where Israel was bombing, Gaza was shooting rockets over. What happened was Egypt came in and took over that Gaza Strip border basically on their side, and they cleaned out and destroyed more homes all the way to the sea as a buffer zone than the Israelis bombed. Now, you must study the history of Israel and Egypt all the way into this current time. Egypt is not Israel's friend. Now, again, the reason I'm going into these details, guys, is because these are flashpoints in biblical prophecy indicators. Regardless of your religion, this is what they're talking about, wars and rumors of wars. And the army in the end times. Other units taking part in the war games include the Operations Branch, which will practice coordinating emergency maneuvers, the Home Front Command, which will hold rescue drills, and others. The IDF warns the Monday through Wednesday period will be marked by increased military activity, which will take in public places such as schools, and several cities around the country will be affected, including Tel Aviv and the central locations there. Now, the IDF has also said that if war breaks out in Lebanon, which is on their border, and ISIS has been in and out of that area, it says IDF troops will cross that border, a senior official told. It said that, adding that the Israeli army has held a series of military drills for a war against Hezbollah in recent weeks. Israeli Artillery Corps has been staging military exercises to train for the war against Hezbollah in the Jordan Valley for 5 days. The Israeli army stages this type of exercise annually, but this year it was different, as a huge amount of military and live fire was deployed. And so much so, guys, that they've set a bunch of forest fires. It's kind of crazy, but that's what they're doing. I don't know if they're clearing areas, but they're getting a lot of complaints from both sides. Said, according to the IDF senior officer, this time the Israeli army kicked off with its biggest drill, while in other years the biggest military exercise has been staged at the end of the drills. So read between the lines. Much of this that's being put in place will more than likely stay in place. Not every bit, but the key components will be in place. The Armored Corps of the Israeli Defense Force has taken part in numerous conflicts, including the Gaza War and the recent Operation Protective Edge last summer, 2014. Guys, there's so much going on. Again, I want to refer back to the Luciferian letter. Who in Israel and who in Gaza and Hamas, who are walking hand in hand and turning these people against each other. Do not overlook that fact. There's been claims that there are people in Israel behind Hamas. Now, these would not be the people for the true cause there. They would be people that are part of this bringing in of the Luciferian doctrine. So be aware that these are the events that are happening now. So pay very close attention. We have a show coming up at 1 p.m. today on Blog Talk Radio. I'll link to that, guys. Heads up. Be safe.